Tonight in Dispatches, the government wants to house thousands of asylum seekers in small communities across Britain. But with locals taking to the streets in opposition, is fear and loathing making asylum policy unworkable? Lee-on-the-Solent is a small town on the south coast of England. For the past year, people here believe they've been in peril.
Parents are worried about their children and their safety. The elderly are very worried. They're very worried about their security. You know, many of them now are not sleeping properly at night.
The government wants to use Lee as an experiment, part of a pilot scheme to develop 3 large accommodation centres for asylum seekers. But this policy is meeting fierce opposition from communities that fear the worst.
If we said it was a nuclear bomb dropping on Lee-on-the-Solent, the fallout zone will be massive around us, Winchester, Southampton, Portsmouth and beyond.
The plan here is to put 400 male asylum seekers in HMS Daedalus, a disused naval base once home to 2,000 sailors. The Daedalus Action Group, or DAG, has been formed to keep Lee asylum-free. This is a very British protest, led by former naval officer John Beavis. His deputy is local builder Derek Kent. They were keen to show me the dangers they believe the accommodation centre would bring.
What a perfect way to get people into the country legally who have other plans, shall we say, than via the asylum seeker route. And I saw a figure quoted that 1 in 6 was probably falling into this category.
And that proves to be too many people that could be serious terrorists.
For Derek and John, the stakes could hardly be higher.
There's a good view of one of the most insecure places that could make a complete mess of Hampshire and the surrounding districts. Fawley oil refinery over there, very accessible. How long does it take to get to Fawley via speedboat? Not very long at all.
So you think that that's a prime target for...
I mean, if that was to explode at any time, Fawley, I cannot imagine what the fallout of gases and petrochemical sort of fumes would be. Unbelievable in this. It would be catastrophic. I suppose you've read about the air traffic control centre at Swanwick.
Yeah.
I mean, it wouldn't take too much of a genius to knock out the electricity supply to it.
Right.
Can you imagine 30,000 planes or whatever in the air at one time over Europe and we haven't got control of them?
Lee may be safe for now. The nearest any asylum seekers have come is the neighbouring town of Cattersfield, where a hotel is sometimes used as emergency accommodation.
Yeah, you got one up there in the window, hanging out over the bars.
So this is an asylum hostel, is that right?
Well, it's also used by the DHSS to mix in with them as well. I mean, does any community deserve to have something like that popped in their back garden?
Right, please, yeah.
People here fear the whole character of Lee would change if the asylum centre went ahead.
Yeah, come on.
Local teacher Sue Ellis is a key member of the Action Group committee.
Bring a little tipple down tomorrow, yeah? There is a sort of certain way of life here. I think there's probably more similarity between life in London, say, and life in Baghdad than there is between London and Lee-on-the-Solent.
Sue heads DAG's research unit, tasked with getting the facts about asylum. Her chief source is the national press.
Right, asylum, we risk being overwhelmed. Britain's still the asylum capital. Scandal of Sponger taking us for a ride. Soft Touch UK. Migrant influx brings AIDS threat. Hepatitis, TB and AIDS. Exposed. Asylum figures sham. How refugees are sneaking in. Al-Qaeda terrorists cheat way into UK. Asylum seeker lies. Asylum, the biggest crisis facing our country today. They're dramatic headlines, aren't they?
Do you think maybe that kind of this is sort of where a lot of people's fear comes from?
Well, of course it does. Of course it does. it whips up all sorts of emotion, doesn't it?
So tell me specifically what the fear is.
The fear, well, let's just put it this way. You've got...
No, just tell me specifically
what the fear is. You've got fear of rape. You've got fear of HIV and AIDS. You know, you've got a fear of a lot of sexually transmitted diseases, haven't you? And I think, you know, if just one young girl in the area ended up with AIDS, that would be nasty, very nasty.
May the 15th, Lee's residents are taking to the streets for the most important day of the campaign so far. John's directing the protesters to the gates of the Daedalus site.
I'm the chairman of the Daedalus Action Group.
Home Office Minister Beverly Hughes is coming for a visit. It's a chance to come face to face with the woman responsible for asylum policy.
Up to the roundabout. Down, round there, round on by the lights.
Only she's not actually planning on meeting any locals. Just a tour, then a quick getaway.
Hello.
Since dawn, a team has been erecting protest signs in the streets around Daedalus. Support among locals was total, or so I thought.
Would you say it looks like it's something to do with my house?
Yeah, I thought it was to
Yeah,
do
well
with
it's
your
not,
house.
so can I take it down?
Yeah, sure.
It just makes me so angry and sick that people can be so self-centred.
Right.
Put themselves against people who are in need.
You seem to be somewhat in a minority.
Yeah, there's a few
Around
of
here.
us, but at the same time, there's a group of us that feel the way I do, and there's a lot of people that are scared to speak up because one person got attacked and had to be taken to hospital, and one person got a brick thrown through their window. So that's the sort of community that, you know, so loving and, you know, safe, and, you know, people are scared to speak up. I don't think that's something to be proud of.
Hello.
Hello.
Thanks for your support.
Oh, you're very welcome.
All I'm asking is that you put it that end because, like this man said, it looks like it's something to do with my house, and I'm ashamed and embarrassed for anyone to think I've got anything to do with this.
Well, that's how I feel, because you can just get up and move. We can't.
Why can't I just get up and move?
Well, I mean...
I don't want to move. I don't mind asylum seekers there.
Well, we
They're
do.
in need.
Very naive.
And I think you're ignorant.
Well, probably am, but you're very naive.
You're talking from fear. I feel
right, so
sick
you're in
at
it.
what you're trying to say here.
fine.
I don't want that message outside my house. Every time I look
Well,
out my window, it's there. He's got
it's
one
all
there.
over. It's
He's
all
got
over.
one there. And if he
fine.
wants it, put it at that end of the fence. That's all I'm saying.
Fine. No, he wants it there.
But I don't want it there, and
I
it's
don't
near
care
my
what-
hedge.
I don't really care whether you want it there or not. It's not.
I want to address everyone at about, say, 10 past. Hiya, how you doing? All right, thank you, mate. Hello.
I've just remortgaged and I've lost
What, to
thousands
give
and
to them?
thousands of pounds, but I don't care because I've got a home and half these people haven't. Let's look at the bigger picture. These are people
have you
who
got
don't know
children?
if they're going to have
Have
their
you
life.
got
Yes, I've
children?
got a little boy.
What happens is, if your children rape, they get attacked.
Why?
How
These
would you-
aren't evil
Why?
people. They're human
Have
beings.
Have you heard what they? Have you heard that a little while ago, just down the end of the road, there's illegal immigrants? If you go,
Do you know what I heard?
Do you think if you go abroad, you want to get the same treatment?
Can I say something? Do you know what I heard? A man at the end of the road got attacked for having my opinion and had to be taken to hospital. Another man got a brick thrown through their window.
Ladies and gentlemen, today we have the Secretary of State for Citizenship, Immigration and Community Cohesion. That's really what we're all about, isn't it? Community cohesion.
I'm disgusted for anyone to drive past here and think, oh, she's got something to do with this shit.
Nothing to do with you.
Put it up there.
I'm disgusted when you put asylum seekers in there, and I say to myself,
Why?
I don't
They're
want in there.
human beings.
Why? It's a post.
If we have civil war here, I hope that some other country will
Post.
take me and my child.
It's like they're not supposed to
Not
be
civil
here.
war.
Stop
no.
them, they're human beings.
Kill them. Kill
They've
them all.
got lives.
Shoot them.
They're human beings
Shoot them.
with lives and feelings.
I'd like they're born in that situation.
Oh
Let
my
them stay in
God, I
that
can't
situation.
believe we're in the 21st century and there's a man there saying that. It's
If you're born
disgusting.
a rabbit, you can't all of a sudden
I
become a
can't
fox, can
believe
you?
there's a man saying that in the
change, that's it.
21st
Third
century.
world. People are dying in the
Oh,
third
my
world for God knows how many years, and it's
Yeah.
never going to change.
We are not anti-refugees. We are good people, honest citizens in Lee. So please make yourself heard, but let's keep it peaceful. Thank you very much indeed.
The Home Office is keeping tight control of Beverley's visit. But at the last minute, Derek gets word that the minister has granted him and John an audience.
No, great. Thanks so much. Cheers. John.
The helicopter's landed, but she's not in it.
We're going in. Two of us are
Thanks,
going in.
Helen.
Right, two of us are going in.
OK, that sounds like it. OK, they're on the way. Thanks.
Journalists were taken inside the Daedalus site to a car park where Beverley appeared with a small army of press officers.
It's very important that we do trial these centres because they offer us a much better, faster way of processing claims. But of course I understand that this is a big issue for a small local community. Thank you.
The government's trying hard to manage the message. Dispersing asylum seekers around the country has met with hostility. Accommodation centres are supposed to help with the process of acceptance, but this new policy appears to be even more unpopular. The press dealt with. Beverley went for her meeting with John and Derek, but it was strictly off camera. So I went back outside and found another dissenting voice amongst the locals.
Asylum seekers welcome here. People will be raped and tortured are welcome. Don't push them away.
Local social worker Les Gibbons is one of very few people actively opposing DAG.
I don't need your welcome, thank you.
Why don't you go back to work? Why aren't you working?
Day off today.
But all the police around them, what are you scared of? Why don't you work? Why aren't you at work? No, they don't work. This is what they do. Is this your professional job to be a demonstrator?
Before the government can proceed any further, Beverley Hughes must decide to submit a formal planning application. John's meeting with her gave no clues on the likely outcome.
What do you think generally then?
Do you know, I haven't got a feeling one way or the other.
No, yeah.
She listened, and that I was encouraged about.
John? Was she quite approachable?
She was approachable. She listened.
Didn't have
she
horns on her tail.
No. But I do get the feeling that she is quite ruthless. And I think once she has made a decision, there'll be no going back on it.
That decision is expected within days. The Daedalus Action Group is convinced the government will press ahead and are gearing up for the fight. July, 2 months since Beverley Hughes visited Lee. There's been no word on her plan to proceed with an asylum centre. Opposition to the Daedalus Action Group's been growing. A counter-organisation, Neighbour Lee, is holding its first public meeting.
Lee-on-the-Solent could very well get a reputation for being racially motivated in it.
The group's leader is local carer Gordon Matthews.
When it first came out that there might be an accommodation centre here at Lee-on-Solent, there was a huge outcry. Some of us who live here actually really felt quite ashamed that Lee should get this bad press, in a way, with the hostility and some racism.
Go in here, Chris.
Outside, members of DAG and their supporters have arrived.
Do you like his shirt?
Yeah, very good.
As you can see, we have 4 stalls here, and this one is a listening post where people can come and tell us what they think.
The owner of a guest house opposite was making his thoughts all too clear, and inside, so was everyone else.
Where are they going to go?
They are going to rehouse them.
Where? We ain't got enough housing for us.
Where's your answers? Who's going to speak out on behalf of this?
Exactly.
What about it?
Shut your mouth and just be quiet a minute.
Nobody has a problem with legitimate
We will
refugees. And like you said, we will all have to leave our own country, won't we? We will be the refugees in time. Enoch Powell used to be my MP.
He was right.
By God, was he right? It's going to divide the community. And you've got a few do-gooders isn't really the right word for them. You've got a few idiots, actually, in there that actually haven't got a clue what they're talking about. It's riling people up, and we will be having riots around here before long. We will, and that's what worries me.
As the meeting wound down, I went to talk to the owner of the guest house. Can you understand why some of them might find that sign a bit provocative?
I hope it's very offensive, actually. Blowing whistles and wearing T-shirts isn't enough these days. You almost have to create a riot in order to get anybody to listen to you. And that's a sorry state of affairs. But if people should go down that road if they feel it important enough.
Would you do that?
I'd be prepared to, yes.
Would you?
Yes. I would like to take them all on. That's how angry I feel about it.
Last year, around 50,000 people arrived in the UK claiming asylum. While their cases are processed, they're dispersed to towns around the country. Kayembe and Bombo were sent to Portsmouth, a short hop along the coast from Lee.
A lot of fog today.
A lot of fog, yeah. He says he fled from the Democratic Republic of Congo a year ago.
I saw soldiers coming to my place. I was preparing an exhibition about human rights violations. They brutalized me and then they arrested me. They threw me in the police truck. At the traffic light, I jumped from the car. I took a big risk because they could shoot me. Yeah. But I didn't have chance. I didn't have choice, It was to survive or to die there.
Contacts in the Catholic Church arranged a ticket and false passport to take him to London, where he arrived alone, knowing no one. While Kayembe's asylum claim is being processed, he's not allowed to work and has to survive on £38.26 a week.
We are not coming here just to sit and to wait for that benefit every week. I can't leave my country for that only. Some say even that it's a paradise. 38.26 per week. So I think some people are just wrong in the,
In Lee, fear of asylum seekers appears strongest in the suburban streets immediately surrounding HMS Daedalus. This is comfortable, owner-occupied territory.
So you can see how close we would be.
Sis Lucock and her family have lived here for 19 years.
We moved here when it was a naval establishment, full of life and what have yous, and it is the unknown.
They haven't got any jobs to do, so presumably they would just be in gangs talking amongst themselves, probably smoking.
The majority are here just for an easy life.
It's just totally the wrong place. There is no ethnic communities around here to support them. They're much better off near a larger area where they have chance to perhaps mingle with their own kind.
OK, everybody, give us a cheer then.
Lee's fearful residents are taking their concerns to the top. A petition is being delivered to Downing Street. People here say they want Tony Blair to know their human rights are at stake.
Oh, just that bit.
Just tell me why you want to keep Lee asylum free.
We don't know what effect it's going to have on our community. You pay extra to live in a really nice seaside village, and already we're being told that we can't sell our houses, that our house prices are going down, and people, it's just fear of the unknown, really.
DAG's foot soldiers are largely drawn from Lee's elderly population. Not natural protesters, this issue has galvanised them like no other.
We're looking for volunteers to join the action group. Right.
So shall I just sign that there?
So you would like to be actively involved?
It worries me, it frightens me.
Yeah.
And that's why I want to get involved, because...
What are you frightened of?
I am frightened of crime. I am frightened of security, unsafe streets.
Yeah.
If it goes ahead, I think I'm going to go to the extremes. That I won't actually stay in Lee-on. I'm Danish by birth, and I'll probably go and live over there.
The small army descending on Whitehall may come from a town of just 7,000, but they've had no trouble getting broader support. Their petition has 32,000 names on it.
Would you ensure that the Prime Minister sees this letter, please? Thank you. And that's his baseball cap for his son, Ewan.
Both local Tory MPs back the campaign, as do Fareham and Gosport councils, who claim they couldn't cope with the numbers coming in. Each donated £5,000.
Thank you.
Not everyone, of course, supports the campaign. During a Home Office visit to Fareham, DAG protesters were confronted with the man fast becoming their nemesis.
I've got a suggestion. Why don't we have a campaign to get the military to spend less money on wars, and then we'll be able to have it from the welfare state, and we'll be able to accommodate all people who are seeking asylum.
Let's clear the Isle of Wight. Let's clear the Isle of Wight.
Do you
Put
live
all
at
these people on the
Lee-on-the-Solent?
Isle of Wight.
I live only nearby.
Where? Right.
I don't want these people anywhere in our country. They're a danger to us all.
You're a bigger, you've got a very sort of like exceptional view.
I've got a good point. You're in the minority. Sorry, there's one of you here. Anybody else? Thank you very much indeed.
Hey, you got an objection up there? You got an objection up there?
Thank you very much indeed. Thank you, sir, for your attention.
We agree that silence...
Les Gibbons' regular appearances were earning him a reputation as the group's public enemy number one. So they've decided to take him out. Confidential documents been produced targeting Les because someone's been stealing DAG's distinctive yellow banners, and for the action group, he's their prime suspect.
Can you just confirm I've got the right man?
Oh, definitely, that's him.
That's him. It's not the public consumption.
An undercover surveillance operation has been organised by former solicitor Nigel Stewart to catch Les in the act.
Right, OK, stakeout is on. Perhaps if you'd just give an overview of how we're going to conduct it, Nigel.
If somebody starts to try to remove the banner, dial 999. The important thing is we shouldn't try and make a citizen's arrest, and we shouldn't be involved in car chases.
This evening, we have a shift system, and there are going to be 8 of us, 2 at a time, on watch from 10 o'clock in a few minutes through till 6 a.m. We're going to move down and park behind the trees over there. The banner is over there. And I'm going to turn round so that the whole of the car is behind the trees, and we observe it through the back windows.
Why is it you think somebody's taking the banners?
I think the only reason can be that they are opposed to our stand, which is that Daedalus is an inappropriate place for an asylum seekers processing centre, or in the alternative, they're a nutter.
The first shift was taken by John, who'd turned up in nighttime camouflage.
It's a bit odd, wasn't it? Chap running up the road there.
Did you feel compelled to do the kind of things you're doing now, like sitting in a car at midnight on a Friday night? I mean...
If that's what it takes to win this case, yes. Yes, we've got to win. We cannot lose. We've got to save our community.
Nigel took the last shift. By 6 o'clock, Bannerman hadn't put in an appearance. A bit disappointed?
Disappointed not to have caught somebody. If he's observed us here, obviously it's a concern, because the only way we're going to stop this happening is by being here every night, which is simply not feasible. And I say him, the prime suspect. Maybe he's got them all stacked up in his garage.
The stakeout for Bannerman went on for 5 weeks, but they never caught anybody. Back in Portsmouth, I went to see Kayembe at home while he waits for word on his asylum claim.
Do you always have the TV on?
Usually I put that on just for information. I was trying to watch Kilroy.
Kilroy?
Yeah, that's my way to find out about different opinions. We have our living room.
This house, like those of most asylum seekers, is privately owned. The rent is paid by the Home Office.
Yeah, we share a living room. And
we were interrupted by 2 of his Congolese friends who wanted to borrow a Hoover. They're also claiming asylum. Sophie was willing to talk but didn't want to be identified. Henriette says she was persecuted because of her religious beliefs. Both were jailed before fleeing the country.
Kobeta, kucheba mabendi, kutorturer mabende, net makolo, izaba mabendo bazarocha batuya bakuhana, kota ko bachuba kange bendo monde kota. Bachubio.
That's you know the
Oh, is that tamba boaka kinga? No. Tamba boaka kinga na kombi.
all that scarce. And
how were they caused?
You know, the knife, bayonet.
Yes.
Yeah. When they need to rape a woman, they hold your arms, and then another one try to threaten to just to keep you in fear to
keep you still.
Yeah, that's why.
So she was raped in prison.
Yeah.
ondimika ka bakata yo po bazali ko bakokobika te donc bakoboma yo kaka ata kutu basali yo ndenge nyonso donc okokufa na yo kaka bon.
Both women's claims for asylum have been rejected. Henriette says that she's not interested in politics, so couldn't tell the Home Office when the former dictator Mobutu went into exile. She was therefore judged not to be Congolese.
Kasi soki bozongi yokanisi eloko nini eko yela bino.
Ba boma biso toza na eloko mususu te donc toza na eloko mususu te kuna toza utilité toza utilité eke toye na mboka o tozonga lisusu na mboka ana.
By Christmas 2003, there was still no decision on the accommodation centre in Lee. Over the months, I'd heard a lot about people's fears, but I wondered what really lay behind them. Michael and Barbara Phillips are active supporters of the campaign.
So tell me what your specific concerns about Lee are if the accommodation centre were to go ahead.
It wasn't in this area. It just shows you what can happen though. A lady was saying how she was walking down the street, the young men were gathered in a group across the path and wouldn't let her through. Although she sort of went to excuse herself to go through, they didn't move out of the way.
Right, and these young men were asylum seekers, were they?
Oh yeah, yes.
And how did she know that?
I wouldn't know that now, but I mean, you would, if you were in the high street, you know, generally speaking, you can tell the type who is an asylum seeker. They're quite likely to have a hostile look as well about them, and a foreign look about them. Probably a bit of a beard, because I'm thinking probably the Iraqi type ones. That style of one.
This is a campaign built around fear, isn't it?
In a way it is. It is a campaign built around fear, but I'm also sure that there will be a percentage of those fears that actually, you know, will come to fruition.
What I'm trying to get at is, why is it people are afraid of asylum seekers?
I don't know the answer to that one, David, I'm afraid.
Our colonial friends, I think I'll put it that way, moved into the Oxford Road area of Reading. They took over, they moved into one road. Within 12 months they had the complete road, and then they moved up to the Cemetery Junction of Reading, and they took over roads like that. We moved out, and I don't know how many roads they've taken over now. But this is what could happen eventually down here.
When you say your colonial friends, you mean Indians, Pakistanis?
Come from Jamaica.
Right.
Mainly, I think they came from Jamaica.
So you're talking about non-whites?
Non-whites. I've got nothing against them, not one little bit, because they're some nice guys. But it lowers the price of your value of your property as soon as they move in.
This came into me today. My thanks go out to all of those who spend so much of their valuable time saving our wonderful Lee. A Merry Christmas and Asylum Seeker Free 2004.
I'm dreaming of a white Christmas.
DAG hoped to turn their dream of keeping Lee asylum free into reality. Fundraising at the town's Christmas fair. 2004 would finally see a decision on the future of Daedalus.
All your Christmases be warm. May your Christmases be white.
New Year, and the Daedalus Action Group are trying to keep the momentum of their campaign going, opening an information centre. But they've been forced into a tactical retreat in the banner war.
There don't seem to be very many banners up anymore.
No.
Have you lost them all?
Nearly. Yeah, we've got one left up at the moment, and we have a whole pile ready to go up.
Right.
You know, if the balloon goes up. We see no point in putting them up. We know who's doing it, but we just can't catch him. They're mainly no asylum centre, refugee council says no. There was one particular slogan. We had a letter to say it was considered racist. We didn't consider it racist, but we certainly don't want that tag put on us at all. So we have taken that slogan away, and I've forgotten exactly what it was. It was so long ago now.
John, you must remember. You can't have forgotten. Come on, tell me what it was.
I can't remember, honestly.
As you can see, it's quite a few of these.
Yeah.
DAG were completely wrong about who was taking their banners.
They're quite unwieldy.
It wasn't their prime suspect, Les Gibbons.
Save our community. I think I was.
After delicate negotiations, Bannerman agreed to meet me, but didn't want to appear on camera for fear of reprisals.
Human rights. Dear, dear, dear. I honestly think the vast majority of people in Lee-on-the-Solent, their human rights are pretty well being looked after. But the people who are, they're protesting about are by and large in great jeopardy, I would think. This was probably the most contentious of all. 400 today, how many tomorrow? I suppose reminded me of the Enoch Powell one, Rivers of Blood and everything. How dare they say that? That is such a scare thing. They know that that is racist, and there's no other word for it.
Good morning. Morning.
At that time I was commuting, driving through Lee, and you'd come up against this barrier of banners, posters. You know, it was like entering a township where nobody else was wanted but the members of that township. You know, so it was this little island of hatred.
It's now over a year since the Home Office went into the site. Since that time, our lives have been on hold. Isn't it appalling? We will plan for the worst and we will hope for the best. But I can tell you something, we will continue to fight this battle until the end.
Dag's battle station was opened by the chair of Hampshire County Council, Margaret Snaith.
Thank you very much, Margaret.
Thank you very much indeed.
I've represented this ward for over 20 years and the people are lovely. I wouldn't like people to think that they are in any way, you know, selfish NIMBYs. They are caring people. A lot of our residents came here as service people years ago and they stayed because it is such a nice place to come. Yeah. So, you know, I can imagine that anybody coming here, including prospective asylum seekers, would also find it a very nice place to come and to stay, possibly.
Right.
And that is the thing that concerns us.
I will not die here. If I stay forever, I will not be able to help my country. I need to go back one day to save my country.
Have you had any contact with any members of your family?
I haven't got a contact with them. I'm married. I have 3 kids.
You've had no contact with them since you've been here?
No. What I'm trying to do is just to keep my hope that I will find them alive and
In February, word finally came from the Home Office. Against all expectations, Dag's hopes were fulfilled.
Is everybody gathering here then?
I think so, yes. Hopefully. It's such terrific news.
In a written statement to Parliament, the government announced it was scrapping plans for an accommodation centre at Daedalus for technical reasons.
Highly delighted. Oh, it's marvellous. And of course, property prices will, yeah, you know, should stabilise. Exactly, yes, yes.
What great news, David, eh?
Yeah,
Hey?
very exciting. You like the cat got the cream.
Yeah. Wonderful. Do you want me to say something, David?
No, well, you know, just whatever you feel like.
Well, what I feel like is I just feel over the moon. It just could not have been better news, could it?
Well, the mood is one of absolute elation here at Lee-on-the-Solent this morning. In fact, there's also a touch of disbelief as well that their campaign has been successful.
Throughout the campaign, most of the local media had given unquestioning support to Dag. For them, the group's victory is just a good news story.
People at the end of the day just cannot believe that this good news has come now, and we're delighted.
Well, thank you very much for that, and I can tell you the partying here is going to go on well into the evening.
It was open house that night at John's.
Does it remind you of VE Day, John?
Yes.
Why the Union Jack particularly?
Don't you think they're appropriate?
Well, maybe you can tell me why you think they're appropriate.
Well, I think they're appropriate because it's a celebration of democracy. And I am British, and this is the Union flag, which represents my country.
Represents England how it should be.
What does?
Flags. Dare say it'll change soon enough if a load more asylum seekers come over.
Right, how's that then?
Change the country.
Right.
Change the culture of the country.
I think that'll hold for this evening.
Let me take your coats and do go on through.
Stick that in your window, would you?
I just had words with him.
Good evening. They cracked open the champagne today to celebrate an amazing victory for people power.
The local news report reflected the way Dags saw themselves. Nice, respectable, resisting something clearly undesirable.
It's taken superhuman strength and determination to win their case. And I can tell you that the partying here is going to go on now long into the night.
The BBC report appeared to be the only one to question the campaign.
To the refugees that would have come here, but many of them will be locked up.
There were some racist comments early on. Those seem to be ironed out as this campaign went on. Was that difficult?
Wrong. That's wrong.
There wasn't any a good community.
Hello, mate. I've still got the same T-shirt on. I ain't lost it.
Yeah, I remember you from the Neighbour League do.
When John invited me over, I forgot that I had it on.
Right.
Because people think it's racist because it's red, white, and blue.
Right, it's not because of what it says people think it's racist.
That's not racist, though, is it?
Just look behind you!
You're obviously delighted that there aren't going to be any asylum seekers in Lee.
I'm over the moon, but I don't think they should be in this country.
You don't think we should let any refugees in whatsoever?
No.
Regardless of where they come from or what they've been through? Or...
No, because at the end of the day, they're all worried about being tortured and dying. When they do die, they think they're going on a better world.
So they don't mind dying then? Is that kind of what you're saying?
I don't mind them dying, I don't care. I'll encourage you, go on to a better world. Don't drain my fucking taxes.
So what religion are asylum seekers in?
Well, as far as I can see, Muslims. That's the way I see it. Maybe I'm totally wrong, but that is the disadvantage about being racist or prejudiced. I'm probably wrong.
And I would like to say congratulations to everyone who's here for all the work and effort they've done. Thank you all very much indeed.
Losing Daedalus is a serious blow to the government's accommodation centre experiment, once at the heart of its asylum reforms. The other sites near Oxford and Nottingham may yet be forced through, but with opposition to asylum so fierce, will the government try this anywhere else?
In here?
Yeah, if you just take a seat there.
Beverly Hughes had ducked my requests for an interview. Now the government had given up on Daedalus, she agreed to see me.
Is the policy still at the heart of your reforms of asylum and immigration?
It's one of a number of important strands of activity, which is focused. No, it is not the heart of what we're doing.
No, it's not the heart, but is it at the heart? It's been described by your department as being at the heart of your asylum reforms.
I'm not playing with words here. I'm simply saying to you that there are a number of very important strands of work going on.
The refugee groups I've spoken to say that actually your policies are contributing to the climate of fear around asylum seekers.
I don't accept that for a moment. And I think that, similar things were said about what a progressive left of centre party should be doing about crime 10 years ago, that it was right-wing to actually want to do something about crime. There has patently been misuse of the asylum system. I'm not being critical of the people who are coming here trying to get a better life. What I'm saying to them is, you need to do that and come in legally to work.
3 weeks after this interview, Beverly resigned for misleading the House of Commons over work visas for immigrants. But she had spared Lee. I went back to see DAG. There was something I wanted to put to them, and Bannerman had given me something to return.
Which one is this? Human rights?
Yes.
Yeah. So is this the one we were using on the beach?
No, it's not the one you're using on the beach.
So this is one of the stolen ones, is it?
It's one of the stolen ones.
Oh, right. So you found out who was stealing them then?
Yeah, I did indeed, yeah.
And was it the man we thought it was?
It wasn't, no.
Well, he did admit it.
No, it was somebody completely different. There was a reason why he gave me that banner in particular. His argument was that to compare the rights of a comfortable and affluent community like this with the rights of people who may be fleeing totalitarian regimes, who may have lost family members and so on, is extremely distasteful.
Can I just make a point about this business of human rights here, David? A lot of the asylum seekers will come from countries where the women are covered in burqas, totally. In the summertime, they will see the scantiest clad females on that beach. And of course every parent is concerned about that. Every parent with a teenage daughter would be very, very concerned. And that's a very real fear, and it's a very real human right that we all have, a right to family life.
The kind of logical conclusion of what you were saying is that you're talking about people who are coming from a country where they've never seen women scantily dressed, and when they do, they're not going to be able to control themselves.
I said that the parents of teenagers would be extremely concerned and worried.
What are they concerned about, John?
Well, they are concerned about the effect it will have on these people. The reaction, indeed.
Well, what effect will it have on them?
Well, you've just described the effect that it could have on them.
That it could lead them to rape them.
It could, yes, but that wasn't what I said.
The government didn't believe Kayembe was a genuine refugee, saying his story was vague and unconvincing. His claim for asylum was rejected, his appeal has failed. But deportation can be a long process. In the meantime, he'll be locked up or made destitute.
Where would you go? What would you do?
I know that people from my community, they can't leave me outside on the street like that. I will find for sure somewhere to sleep. I can't stay like that. Nothing to do, nothing. You know, that's not a life.
Is there any way you would consider returning?
For me, that will be the last solution. And sometimes, if I think about that, it's better for me to just kill myself than to return, because it's the same. If I return by myself and then they put me in jail, maybe they kill me. You know, it's better for me to kill myself before going there.
Well, it's taken almost a year, but we did it!
Lee is asylum free. But the views I'd found here aren't confined to this town. It's not asylum seekers that are threatening to overwhelm our society, but our own fears.